Okay, my name's Kamani Samuel. I'm also a student at USF, studying architecture. Um, I focused on Betabay and McDade. The first assignment we had was to analyze and diagram what we seen in Betabay and what our pros and cons were. Um, I wanted to focus on the how diverse of the street Beta Bay was with the public and private locations. It starts to be a more resident retail and business commercial street, and then it turns into more residential. I thought those two differences was interesting in pulling more pedestrians into the street. Um, the parking on Beta Bay was also very interesting to me. There was parking in front of businesses and behind businesses. I felt like the cars kind of changed changed the way of how you see the businesses on the street, like if it was more welcoming or not. The pros and cons I wanted to focus on, my pros were the active businesses um, near the highway and the amount of open spaces that were still on the street, regardless of the cars and parking around its businesses. The cons were the trees for shading. The sidewalks were very small, felt very unsafe for the pedestrians. Um, the abandoned spaces that were being used around the businesses and parking. So this is a floor plan section for Beta Bay on 3251 West Beta Bay. As you can see, it doesn't have that many trees for shading or any like seating areas. It's basically you come here for your business and then you leave straight after. And I thought focusing more on the areas where people would be important, keeping them keeping the pedestrians more invited into staying in the area, having more activities or um, seating areas for them to witness more of the street. This is right next to the other block I was analyzing. Um, this is more next to the highway, and I felt like this is a great place for people to actually see, like once you get off the highway, how you want Beta Bay to present itself. I felt like this is a great opportunity for Beta Bay to realize what they want pedestrians in cars to see and out of cars, so it can gravitate them to stay onto the street. For McDale, I wanted to focus also on the commercial area. There is a big park next to McDale. It's more of a bike friendly and walkable park. I wanted to include more of a kids park in this area, just for any adults who had kids or wanted to get out of their workplace to stay somewhere that was more local in their area of business. For the vision and framework, I wanted to focus on green spaces, social dimensions, complete streets, and diversity of uses. For the green spaces, including more palm trees for the businesses and retail streets bay to bay, helping in reduction of energy costs and cooling buildings. For McDale, opening the spaces provided and recreational areas for residential and helps to enhance the beauty and environmental quality of the neighborhoods. So, including more trees in the area, having a park for both children and adults, more plants, more playgrounds. For Beta Bay, I really wanted, I think that it needs more complete streets, especially for the sidewalks and how we move through the sidewalks. Better ways of getting around. Um, Also, questioning parking and how, if for bicycles, where are they able to ride their bikes on the street as well, and how safe would they feel with how narrow the street is. Um, Also, including curb cuts, um, more identity of where pedestrians can travel on the street. For social dimension, um, on the streets of Beta Bay, there's not really any areas or signs for bicycle pedestrians because I'm not sure if that was included in the design so far, but I feel like those including those bicycle pedestrians would influence more people coming in and out to those businesses and exploring more on the street. Um, Pathways and organizations in needed to Beta Bay, sitting areas allowing pedestrians to spend some time in the area, widening the street, um, and including urban furniture for sitting purposes between people and the environment. Also, I thought with the plants going to be beside the sidewalk, having information on those plants could also engage with the pedestrians, knowing information, keeping knowledge in the works of this project. Also, local identity was very important. I feel like putting more of the businesses' ideas or the city's ideas on how they look at Tampa and what image they would like to pursue and show other people or what they're proud of on the street. I feel like having murals could also engage with pedestrians. Sorry, there's like this one helicopter around me. This relates directly to how active and local communities, including the artists and cultural workers, as it is important to ensure the social society and its culture values are enhanced. So this is a floor plan of my updated Bay to Bay street. These are both of the streets connected to each other. And I wanted to focus on a garage proposal that I thought was could be important on the street since there's so many parking parking cars on on these both streets. I thought it would minimize the business thoughts on how they wanted to locate these cars and where they wanted them to place. So there's my garage proposal is number 5, and it's right next to a coffee shop. And this area was already a parking space. It wasn't. It was for the public, and I thought that if it was for the public, including more levels of the garage space would minimize the other cars that are on the street, and maybe making people realize share parking could be a part of this street as well. Um, Also including the bike lanes on the street, letting it still be a um, two lane street on both sides, but having that green landmark for the for the bike pedestrians, for them to realize that they are welcomed on the street, and these cars will make sure that they know that they're there as well. Including bike parking spaces for them as well is important. I felt putting them on the sidewalk would be a great idea for them to feel safe on where they're parking their bikes. Also including more palm trees on the street, since there's none at all right now. I thought some shading would help as well. So this is one of the proposals of how the garage would kind of work, including making the garage more of a green space and having a hovering for pedestrians while they walk by, more green spaces, feeling more welcome. Um, Also widening the street, raising the crosswalks and curb extension, maintain safer travel speeds, and reinforce a more safe commercial street. Um, these travel lanes also provide to eliminate potential conflicts within the roadway and improve traffic observations. Also, I wanted to show like how of a difference it would look if we added art onto these buildings. Um, it would gravitate more people to get onto the sidewalks and stay on there, and I would say have more questions on where they are on the street and what reminds them on coming back to the street as well. For McDill, this was the area where I placed that park that I was talking about. There's a car wash behind it, a convenience store behind it as well. And going towards more south, there's, I believe, a medical building on McDill. And I felt like this was a great place in case if anyone was in a meeting or waiting for an appointment, like, or just waiting for their time for their appointment, if they had a place for them to socialize and take a breather before walking into any type of business that they are about to witness. That's my last slide.